Okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the finished product, and we are going to recover this chair seat. It's a seat with padding on it, and we're going to use this tablecloth fabric. I've already drawn the circle on it. I'm going to cut that out and staple it on and reuse the chair cover backing, and this is what it's going to look like on the back. Stitching around the circle. It's a nice heavy thread in order to help it gather up as we put it onto the chair. So stitch right there. Okay, nice long piece of thread. Okay, now before we gather it up, we want to make sure it's nice and flat. So we take our pattern here again, and I've marked, I fold it in half right across the center, and that gives me the quarters and halves. And I marked that on here with a pencil. I already marked it on the back of the chair cover, chair seat, so that we can match those up, and that'll help us find the, okay, so here, 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 that matched up. And this is an outdoor piece of furniture, so you can tell it's seen a little bit of weather. Now what I'm doing is I'm matching up my pencil mark, moving it over. That needs to move over a little bit. Then once I've got it more or less in the right spot, at that point I measure approximately how far it is and try and get the same all the way around. I think I'm going to have to move it over a little bit more. But it really does help to have your sides and centers marked. You want to do this before gathering it up, otherwise it might be over to one side too much. It's a little bit too far. And it's kind of hard to correct that once you have it centered, once you have it gathered up. It looks pretty good. So let's get these right. Let's go back a little bit. Right, there we go. All right, so now we take threads and gather them up. I'm going to do a little single overhand knot so I can keep them together. There we go. Isn't that fantastic? That. Now, this is only the first part. This is not going to actually hold it in place. What we're doing with this here is making it so that we can staple it on. So that's that part there. And then I notice right where I'm gathering this, what I want to do is take a couple small nails and build a cleat right there so I can wrap my threads around it. And you think, well, why not just tie it? If you ever tried tying a package, you always have to have somebody putting their finger on top of the knot. Well, sometimes you don't have anybody handy to help you do that, and the knot ends up being really loose. But if you have a little cleat, then you can wrap the threads around the cleat. These little nails have heads on them, so I can just take it right out. And the nail holes will never show because they'll be covered up. All right. Believe me, I tried this with pins and it didn't work. The pins just came right out. Okay. Looks pretty good. Make sure everything's even all the way around. It's a little uneven, but not too bad. And before I do anything, I'm going to look on the other side. Now that looks pretty nice. So I think I'll call it good. This is upholstery thread that I'm using. If you used regular thread on this, it would have broken a long time ago. Wrap it around a little bit that way, a little bit around this way, a couple more times. doesn't matter if it gets tangled up, it's alright. Okay, back and forth a couple times, give it a little bit of a hitch there. Now it's going to stay put until we get this stapled on, and then afterwards we'll probably just trim it off. We'll put the back on, staple that on, and it will be all nice like the other one. Okay, now we're going to start stapling. I should put on my glasses for safety purposes. And I'm going to staple a little bit inside of where I, let's see, what did I do on this one? Yeah, about an inch or so in from the edge. There we go, that's the first one. And then I go on the very opposite side, and I make sure this is well pulled in. And then I've got it on opposite sides, and I go on the corners next to my nail. And this is how you get started on this here. And you just keep stapling all the way around. Now some of these staples want to stand up a little bit and give them a little whack to make sure that they are down into the wood, because this is plywood and it doesn't accept staples very well. But plywood is good because it holds together fairly easily. Okay, it's this one and this one, and now we're going to do eighths. And I do try and make sure that I have a minimum amount of wrinkling along the edges. There's going to be some, but we want to minimize that. Fingers out of the way. It needs to be pounded a little bit. Opposite end, right here. Pull that nice and tight. It's already starting to take shape and stay put where it needs to. Let's see, I'm going to find where my other staple was. Oh, there it is, right there, right there. There should be another one right there. Right between those two, but another staple. Right there, need a staple right there. Pull it tight. Okay, well, I've removed the nails and stapled it all the way around, approximately an inch away. And now take a little snip there between these staples, and it flattens out those rumples really well. Makes it so that it'll lay nice and flat. And on part of my stapling, I did it on the flat, and part of it I stapled through. If you look closely here, you can see I stapled it through a pleat, so that it helps it be nice and smooth around the edge. These, and it doesn't matter if I snip through that thread that's in there, because we're really not using that anymore. It's just to get it tight to begin with. Snip that all the way around. It's not going to be perfectly flat, but that's all right. Now here's a place where I think I can use one more staple. I think I missed one. That's okay. Here's where I'm putting a pleat. Stapler there, my hand out of the way, there. Hammer that down a little bit, flatten it, and just continue on. So as I'm cutting this, I'm actually checking for any little areas that need another staple, or any areas that need to be cleaned up a little bit. So far I haven't had to take out any staples, that's good. you do have to, you can just use a staple remover. There, that's pretty much flat all the way around. Places it. Some of this is just going to have to flatten out. I'm going to trim this about, quarter inch away from the staples all the way around. Now, it seems a little bit close to the staples, but afterwards I'm going to be putting this backing, chair backing on to make it a nice, neat surface, and that's going to go through the tablecloth fabric, and it will help hold things in. Lots of staples make for a nice, smooth, neat surface. Here we're trimming it off. It helps make it nice and neat and reduce a little bit of the bulk. Okay, now we're going to put the back on here. And what I do, since this is a little bit transparent, I'm looking to see where the edges of the tablecloth fabric are, and that looks pretty good. Also, I notice where the staples are, and I don't want to staple right on top of them, so I'll staple a little further out. And like we did before, we're going to go opposite sides, give a little bit of a stretch, and I know that's creating a wrinkle there, but that wrinkle will go away once we get things stretched a little bit more. See, it's going away already. So we got the 4 corners approximately. We get 8ths. Already it's looking almost done. And this is just the underside of it. It'll look even better on the front side. Okay, so now we have 8ths. Let's do 16ths. Way around. We are almost done. There we go. We have our finished chair seat. Isn't that beautiful?